I will say overrated, thinking that some of these players are better than pros, or like some of these YouTubers are really like that good. There's a difference in going to the gym and then just standing still and catching and shooting a bunch of shots versus actually working on whatever your skill set is, whether your strengths are as driving to the basket, being a playmaker, or catch and shoot person. That's it. So a deep bag, I mean, it looks cool, but at the end of the day, I mean, Clay scored 60-something points and took minimal dribbles, so you do not need a deep bag to get buckets.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Isaiah from Player Development. Today I've got Coach Brandon here with me, and he was an assistant coach with the Triangle Shooters. He's also a former player himself, and he now has a training and skills coaching business. So we're really excited to have Coach Brandon here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on your interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no problem. So you did used to play. How did you transition over to coaching from playing?
So my transition, I would say, was fairly easy because I'd already done it while I was playing. In 2008, I was coaching at Jamestown High School as an assistant coach there, and still doing mostly the skill development stuff in the summer. I couldn't really do like the daily practices because of my work schedule, but the head coach still wanted me as a part of the staff just to help and be another voice to the kids. So I've been doing it then, and then I'd actually started doing skills coaching with a couple of my friends' daughters that were playing high school ball, and they would ask me to work with them because, you know, it's a little different listening to dad than it is another adult that plays. So that transition was fairly easy for the most part, just because I'd already been doing it. It was just with my basketball career, I knew it was time to stop playing. So now I'm just in the full-time coaching. So
yeah, so lots of players are in their off season right now, and you know, as you work with a bunch of different players from different levels, what do you think is the biggest thing that most players overlook in their off season training?
To me, it's more structure, or structure in their workouts. So there's a difference in going to the gym and then just standing still and catching and shooting a bunch of shots versus actually working on whatever your skill set is, whether your strengths are as driving to the basket, being a playmaker, or catch and shoot person. Like with a catch and shoot person, there's spinning the ball to yourself and standing stationary, but then there's actually like moving and getting into your shot, or just doing a bunch of like basic drills. So to me, it's more having a purpose for your workout and having a structure to your workout to whatever goal you're trying to accomplish in your off season.
Okay. Yeah, so if a player doesn't have a coach or a trainer with them, how can they be intentional about adding that structure to their workouts?
I would say figure out what type of player you are first. I think the YouTube handle is Elite Guard Training. They have something like that where they say there's 4 types of player. There's a playmaker, a slasher, a catch and shoot person, and creator, somebody that can create their own shot, like a person that's a straight up one-on-one person. So figure out what you are in that, and be realistic too. Like everybody wants to say they're a one-on-one person, but they're not all one-on-one people. Like I'm not a shot creator, I'm more of a playmaker where I can make reads, get people open, and come off pick and rolls and get my shot. And basically kind of structure it with the structure you want 50% of what you do, which is playmaker, shot, shooter, slasher, and creator, and then 30% is the secondary stuff. So like with me, if I'm a playmaker first, I'm probably either a slasher or a catch and shoot guy second. So 30% of that, and then 20% is just basic fundamentals, whether it's ball handling or form shooting or something like that. So try the 50-30-20 rule and do that with your time. And basically what I would do with my workouts, like if it was an hour, 30 minutes is just playmaking stuff that I'm working out on. Now I've got to do math here. About 20 minutes. Yeah, about 20 minutes is the secondary stuff, and then 10 minutes is the fundamental stuff.
Okay.
So that's what I would say, dude. Don't spend too much time doing one thing for an hour. Like, be intentional and be purposeful with what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're accentuating your strengths while also working on some of the stuff that you're not as good at.
Yeah, unless you really want to hammer in those weaknesses, then do 50% on the weaknesses and then do it the other way. But yeah, I would say basically structure that way so you're not just doing an hour of just one thing.
Okay. And of course, for you all watching at home, Coach Brandon is a skills coach, so you might not have to structure it yourself. You could go talk to him about it. So where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at BSE_performance coaching. I'm on there, and I'm also on Twitter. I believe it is Coach BSC.
Okay.
I just got on Twitter a week ago. I don't
right.
remember the handle. And the Twitter handle I was going for had too many characters, so I still don't have it memorized. I'm gonna be honest.
That's all good. We'll have all the links for you all in the descriptions. You can check out what Coach Brandon's up to. So talking about basketball players in general, you know, you've seen players, you've played at different levels, and you've coached at different levels. What do you think are some of the most important character traits for a basketball player to have?
To me, the number one thing is just being consistent. You see the people that play on the floor, they're consistent at what they do, whether you got a Draymond Green where he's consistently communicating to his teammates, he's directing guys where to be in defensive rotations, he's playing defense consistently, he's swinging the ball consistently, stuff like that. Or just, you know, being a guy that just being ready to catch and shoot and make the shots at a high percentage, whether it's 40 to 50%. Or being a consistent ball handler. That's the things that's gonna keep you on the floor, is just being who you are and being that night in and night out in the games and practices.
Yeah. If your teammates and your coach know what to expect when they put you on the floor.
Yes, they don't have any question marks. That's the one thing I think that holds a lot of players back, is a coach doesn't know what they're going to get out of them, and not knowing what they're going to get out of them, it's kind of hard to put them in the game and then expect something productive to happen, versus you know what you're going to get on a nightly basis from a lot of guys. Like, you know, with Steph, you're going to get shooting. You know what I mean? So,
well, let me get some insights into some of what you think about some of the topics around basketball right now. We're going to do a little bit of overrated and underrated.
All right.
So the setup, Coach Brandon's going to have underrated, overrated signs. Going to give him a topic, and he'll just choose which one it is and be able to talk a little bit about it. So the first item we're going to talk about, having a deep bag. Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Okay.
Social media, it does make it look cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But I've listened to podcast interviews with people that have worked out with Kobe, and they said Kobe has some of the most boring workouts. It's like an hour of pivots, rip throughs, 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull-ups, and look at him, he's one of the best that's ever played. I mean, a deep bag is nice to have in case of an emergency, but in my opinion, you don't need a deep bag. Like the kids I train, you saw it, we worked on catch and shoot, catch, rip through, couple dribbles, and just 1 or 2 attack moves to the basket, and that's it. So a deep bag, I mean, it looks cool, but at the end of the day, I mean, Clay scored 60-something points and took minimal dribbles, so you do not need a deep bag to get buckets.
All right, simple and effective. All right, how about strength training for basketball players? Okay, that was a quick response.
Yeah, underrated. I mean, it helps keep you healthy. Training with basketball has changed now, where like we kind of train or help strengthen athletes in strength patterns, where we try to mimic the movement but maybe add load with like a medicine ball or light dumbbells or a band to help, and that keeps a lot of athletes A, from getting hurt from doing the movement, but B, actually get more efficient and stronger at moving in those patterns. So definitely underrated, and I recommend all athletes should at least strength train 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay, good to know. All right, how about guards with big man skills?
And it's underrated.
Okay.
Reason being, footwork helps with everything, and as a guard, you never know when you're going to get too deep in the paint or in a position where you can't get a traditional shot off. So being able to spin back and shoot a fadeaway like a big, or shoot a hook shot like a big, definitely helps. There's a guy, I can't remember his name right now. He played at Michigan, and then he plays in the G League. I think his last name's Simpson. Has one of the best hook shots, and he's 5'8", but he can get in the paint and get a hook shot off. So I mean, that's a big man skill, but it's one of those things you can use to your advantage if you know how to use it. So definitely underrated.
And not even if you're a big guard either.
Yeah, you can use it as an undersized guard. Like a hook shot can go a long ways because it's hard to stop.
Yeah. Okay. So let me flip it. How about bigs with guard skills?
Underrated.
Okay.
Reason being, if anybody watches Giannis, he's a big, but if you put him at 15 feet down, one-on-one with a big, he's going to beat them off the dribble every time.
Yeah.
And it does help, and everybody's watching the season that Joel Embiid is having. Now, I will say bigs should not depend on guard skills for their meat and potatoes of their offense. They should be on the block. But if they can use it every now and then in a mismatch or in a high post or a one-on-one situation, absolutely, why not?
All right. YouTube hoopers.
Ooh, all right. So I'm going to put both. So I'm going to say underrated first as a means of income for hoopers. So for guys and gals that think that their career is done after college and they can't make money playing basketball, YouTube is definitely underrated as something as a means of income. I will say overrated, thinking that some of these players are better than pros, or like some of these YouTubers are really like that good. Like I played at the Richmond Y, and there was a guy that was like recording his games, and I'm assuming he was a YouTuber, and we played once, and he did not beat me. So, and I'm not on YouTube. So don't get it confused with some of these people that are on YouTube and you think they're killing people on these open runs. Because one, some of these people can't play, but then two, like there's an edit button. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying all YouTube hoopers are bad. I'm just saying some of them you kind of have to get the context of it and see the whole film. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say the professor's terrible. Like he's a good player.
Yeah.
But you know, there's some people that are taking that route and they're really not that good.
A big following doesn't mean that you're a great player.
Right. Right.
Okay. All right. AAU basketball.
Whew, this one's tough because I've coached it. I would say underrated depending on your program.
Okay.
If you got a program that's really trying to help develop kids and it's not about the tournaments and all the bells and whistles with sponsorships and all that, it's underrated, and then kids get game experience. But I will say it can be a bit overrated thinking that's the means of making a basketball player better. If that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Last one. Dunking.
A little torn on this. I seen a post the other day where the guy was saying, like, in order to be a professional guard, you have to be able to dunk. And it kind of makes sense for the athleticism part. But then I look at Steve Nash, who I'd never seen dunk. But I'm going to go with underrated as far as like undersized guys, because athleticism does translate. And you look at the NBA today, a lot of those guys are super athletic and they can get off the ground and dunk. So I will say underrated, but I will say overrated depending on that just for your offense. So,
So not dunking for the sake of dunking, but if you can dunk, you're probably athletic enough to have that carry over. Okay.
Yep.
All right, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Problem.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.